I assume you can hear me okay, Ben? Why aren't I getting in the video? Come on.
I'm here. I'm just not added to the studio yet. You just go solo first and then.
Oh, good. No, it's not me. Unless it's just not happening for me. I'm just not getting any video yet. I can't see myself, but I don't know if that's just a fault on my end or whether. Come on. There we go. There we go. I saw something. We're up and running at last. What's up, everyone? We're live. We took a few minutes there to sort out some technical issues, but the Cats, we finally got a win. First one in a little while. We're 2 in the last 8 now, but what matters is what happened recently. We're 1-0 as far as anyone else is concerned. That's all that matters. Pretty stoked with that. Ben, I'm going to loop you in really quickly here because you've just done, what, 2.5 hours of streaming around the game. How are you feeling?
I feel like I'm sitting on top of you at the moment, but yeah, my voice is it's just the way the camera's set up and all that, but I'm struggling. that was nearly 3 hours of live reaction to the game. It was nervous moments there. Everyone in the chat, I think we're all probably thinking the Bombers were looking pretty good, but Cats somehow found a way to turn things around in that third quarter and then didn't look back. Really, it was pretty fun. It was a good time.
It was a good time. And yeah, it's a long time for you to have your ass parked in a chair engaging, so you can't even really leave, though I'm pretty sure you created a go to the toilet graphic. I don't know if you had to use it along the way.
A little kitty litter graphic. I thought it was hilarious, but anyway. No, a couple of little breaks. But actually, surprisingly, it went pretty quick, Paul. It was a good fun chat. And yeah, even better when you win these things. I don't know how I would have gone for 2.5 hours, 3 hours if we had lost, but yeah, the second half, we were all up and about. It's good fun. What did you think of the game?
Yeah, look, pretty happy. Obviously, we've been in a rough space over the course of the last couple of months, but that kind of look. I mean, I've been pretty bullish about how mediocre Essendon are, so. I wasn't necessarily going to get too carried away if we did what we ultimately ended up doing tonight. But it was nice to see a few things that have been kind of going haywire over the course of the last couple of months start to click back into gear. The way they finally pulled the trigger and kind of repositioned and unleashed Tom Stewart. Not that he necessarily lit it up as a midfielder, but it kind of got him off he got him off that leash that he's been kind of having to contend with the last few weeks and was better for it. I'm sure Lawson Humphries is going to be mentioned by many people tonight. It was an awesome first game from him. Ollie Dempsey, just as I was walking out, got awarded BOG in the rooms afterwards. My man Jack Bowes, I keep beating that drum, but it'll get lost because I think so many people kind of focus on just the raw numbers itself. But he had 26 disposals from 62% game time.
Yeah, he's pretty impressive.
Absolutely taking the piss, that bloke. He's that good. And even scratching Neil, like I know, and you know, we're very, very mindful of Hawke and all that he's done. But it was great to see that, considering like there's a lot of pressure on Scratch Neil to come in and try and fill that void for 8 weeks, and then we'll see whatever happens when it comes to season 2025. But for him to come in and not seemingly be burdened by that external noise and that potential pressure that he's feeling himself. He just went out there, he attacked the ball, broke through some packs, clunked a few great ones. I think got one on the chest nice and early, which I think kind of settled some nerves, which
helped, didn't it?
Which I think really helped a lot. And I guess it helps when you're playing on the lesser Mackay, right? So,
right.
look, I mean, there wasn't much that went wrong, really. Jai Clark couldn't get his hands on the ball tonight, which was a bit disappointing. But I don't think is necessarily indicative of some sort of problem with him either. It just didn't seem like it was his night. He just couldn't quite find it in ways that he has previously. Even Mark the Shark O'Connor coming on in that last quarter got his hands on the ball quite a lot for that very limited amount of game time. He had 16% game time and 6 disposals. I'll take that. And of course, he's got fresh legs where most people didn't. But yeah, I can't really think of a weakness from the night. Is there something that caught your eye? And I very actively, no offense, deliberately did not catch your stream so that I didn't have any preconceived sort of stuff. I could just watch the game and go in.
I will say, you mentioned him already, but Scratcher, he was very impressive. And yes, we have all jumped off Tom Hawkins. We've all jumped off Tom Hawkins already. We're all about Shannon Neal at the moment. No, seriously though, I was getting a little bit worried about Tyson Stengel there in the first half. He's very quiet in that first half, but goodness me, did he turn the game in the second half? Probably almost should get in people's votes. Almost. I don't know if he will, but he was a match winner in that second half. He really, really turned it up and made a big difference. And I just love, seriously, or just on Shannon Neal for a sec, I just loved, and I was saying it in the live show, I just loved that he didn't feel the need to take clunkers. He just brought it to ground. And in these wet conditions, that's all he really needed to do. Just create opportunities for the smalls, the crummers, just get that ball moving forward. He did all the right things in all the right moments. Everything you would have wanted from him, from a young, developing tall, he did it tonight. So congrats to him. Look, he'll be inconsistent, Paul, I think over the next 6 weeks or so. I think you're going to see some stinkers from him, and hopefully the club will stick with him. And maybe if he does need a rest, there's another bloke there that might want an opportunity too. But Jezza will probably want to rest at some point if finals is on the cards. It's who knows? We're 8. What are we now? 9 and 6, I think we are. Is that right? 9 and 6.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think so.
I really like Shannon Neal.
But yeah.
Tyson
and
Stengel.
look, you're right. He's going to face some challenges the next few weeks. I mean, we do have a clash with the Pies coming in the next little while, and he's going to have to deal with Jeremy Howe and Darcy Moore sort of pairing. And obviously, yes, one of them's got to be accountable for Jeremy Cameron, but like he won't have a mug up against him, and that's going to test him. So he's going to fight, and there's other matchups as well that are going to come his way. That'll be challenges, and they're going to be good opportunities for him where he doesn't have, like, he's got to play number 1 or number 2 in those weeks, and even to your point, even if they're stinkers and it doesn't go quite right for him, he's going to learn from that. He's going to come back better. He's got the body, he's got the build, he's developing confidence, and you ride those bumps and end up better for it.
Before you kick me off the stream tonight, Paul, can I just say, Lawson Humphreys, I love you. You are a star. Thank you for that performance you put in tonight. It was 15 possessions, 15 or 16 touches or whatever, but it was absolute
classy
silk. Absolute silk. We absolutely loved it. If he does that anywhere near that in the next month, surely you don't drop the guy after that type of performance.
Surely not.
Love to see him play against the Hawks next week. And as I said on the live show, if you don't get to the Hawks game on the weekend, I know you're not going, Paul, but you've given me a good reason.
I got a Bucks night, so
you got a Bucks night, but I'll be knocking on people's doors if they're not going and having some stern words with them. So, but no, I can't wait to see him again in the flesh next week against the Hawks.
Don't get too creepy about it.
No, sorry, not like that, Lawson, but in real life, there you go. Can't wait.
I'll also and I'll get your thoughts on it. I don't know if he got discussed. He hasn't been brought up so far, but Gary Rowan being able to play a full match again, rather than coming off of the sub, I think that made a big difference to just the makeup of the forward line and his speed, his marking ability, and just the fact that even though he's been playing fits and spurts, he's been in form in ways that Ollie Henry's obviously out for an injury, but even Ollie, as much as I love him, has been a little bit off the boil in the weeks leading up to it. Not just slightly off his game, whereas Gary Rowan's in full flight at the moment. It seems to be, really good form, and to get to play the full 4 quarters again, it showed.
Yeah. And last one from me, Mitch Nevitt, your other man. I know you've got a few. Your man, Mitch Nevitt. Golf clap. How good? He was good tonight. I really liked. But he wasn't best on the ground, but he was great. He did all the things you wanted him to do. You wanted him to come in and hold his own, and he did that. And it helped. Like a lot of young guys into this team, it was great. It was danger back, got through the game. But Mitch Nevitt, hats off to you, mate. All these young fellas. He deserved it. A couple of good weeks in the VFL. Will he hold his spot? I don't know. But if he doesn't, regardless, pat on the back. He played really well.
Yeah, I think he continues to show that when his opportunity does come properly, whether it's continued games over the course of this season or in 2025, that he's going to be in a pretty good place. So I'm happy with that. Even he's not necessarily a young bloke on the team anymore, but I've had a few digs at him. Old Forey, Jack Henry. Considering he was up against it when it comes to height tonight, he did a pretty solid job. I know he still had 2 goals kicked against him, and he had to call in support, but he bodied well. He made contests that allowed the third man up to kind of give him a chop out, because obviously Peter Wright had a massive height advantage over him tonight, and I think he actually held himself pretty well considering.
I think so. I don't want to steal everyone else's thunder though, because I know you've got about 4 or 5 people in the chat, and I think I have posted the link in the chat as well if people want to jump on and share their thoughts. Only one rule, everyone. You got to have your camera turned on. So that's pretty much it. But come on, have a chat. Let us know what you think. There's no bad opinions. Just be respectful of each other and make sure you give Paul a hard time. Is probably all we ask for. So,
well, you were in here before I was in the end. So who should we be tossing to first, mate?
Probably Johnny boy. John, and then probably Bianca, because she's. Oh, look at Bianca throwing her hands up in the air. Maybe
Sorry,
go with
Bianca. It's
maybe go with Bianca then, because she's got to.
Right,
you might have to go to bed. Sorry, John. Just hang on a couple more minutes. I'm out. See you guys.
See you, mate. Get out of here.
I'm back.
Awful bloke. Get out of here. All right, let's get Brendan and Bianca in. How are you guys?
No.
Oh, there we go. Now you're unmuted. How are you both?
How's it going? A lot better than last week, that's for sure.
A lot better than the majority of the last 2 months. So,
very, very happy. It's amazing what a win can do.
Oh yeah. What were your big takeaways?
Obviously, Lawson Humphreys was pretty amazing.
Mitch Nevitt.
Yeah, no, Mitch Nevitt was all right. But I don't know if you've got any stats in front of you, but did Lawson Humphreys actually miss a kick tonight? Like, did he miss a possession? Because it looked like his efficiency would have been pretty high, I would have thought. Because I don't remember him making
that's while we're at it. Give me 1 sec. Lawson Humphreys. I think you're about to get proven badly wrong here. I can't find his name. I'm scrolling down. He was going at 66.7%.
I don't remember him making a mistake.
Neither do I really, but they can be a bit harsh when it comes to disposal efficiency from time to time.
Yeah.
Like if the ball pitches short of the play, even if they scoop it up and it's clean possession from there, they'll count that as a missed target. So there's some brutality around that, and sometimes even the kicking to position thing. I think. Look, they're just a bunch of. I say this as a math teacher. They're a bunch of math nerds, and they don't necessarily have the game sense that goes with it. So they've done it, our mate Lawson. But I mean, he had three clearances as well. From not a lot of time in the middle. So
looked really polished.
Yeah.
Like I was
not
really
overawed at all.
And that's the type of thing that you want. Even like that's the thing that you don't mind losing if you've got like little things like that to go off. And last week there was just nothing. That was why like it was so disappointing last week that we just looked at it and just went,
we're done.
Where's the positive? It was like really the first time this year that I was just like,
and then
shaking my head.
Tonight, we played we won 7 in a row. We played like that. We played like against St Kilda, Bulldogs, Adelaide. We played like that.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I'd say one of the big things, and I know there's been a lot said about it, and we've all been pretty quick to kind of kick the midfield over the course of the last 2 months, but we're not necessarily expecting them, especially with kind of where a lot of them are at developmentally. We're not expecting them to, be the Bulls that win every single matchup, but they can at least kind of put the pressure on the contest in the middle, and that was kind of sorely lacking in these last 7 to 8 weeks. But it was very much present in those first 7 games, and you could see signs of that returning again tonight. So again, I'm pretty sure, and I'll check team stats. I'm pretty sure we lost clearances, and like those sort of numbers didn't favour us again.
And inside 50s.
But we competed. I think it was like Danger was great tonight as well. Like he didn't get a ton of it, but just competed hard, like you expect from him. And also, even Tom Stewart didn't get a lot of it, but got
in the midfield.
He was just there. when he was in the middle, he was just in the right spots to just compete and just harass. And it goes
I'll
a
get
long
that
way.
monkey off the back for him as well, I think.
Yeah. And he started getting it in defense after that. And it was like
23 disposals. And he started getting the intercept possessions and those sorts of things after a while too. And I think because potentially Essendon didn't know how to handle him at this point because he'd maybe go to the midfield but then drift into defense. They might have had the kind of handover going on. And suddenly that defensive forward is a little bit stumped as to when they need to be kind of switching on to Tom Stewart as well.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good way to break it.
Week. I wish they had tried it last week. Like they put him up forward. I thought they would have gone midfield and they put him in the forward line. It was like this could be even worse if we don't get inside 50s and we didn't.
I know why Chris Scott chose to put him in the forward line. Can you guess?
Nicholas Hawkins injured.
No. Because he could take intercept marks.
Okay.
That's why.
There's something to it.
She's delivering. She's happy, very happy we got the win.
It's been a while coming.
Collingwood.
So. And then we get to take on the Hawks next week and hopefully extend. They're going all right, which I hate, but anyway. Hopefully we get the chocolates there, extend our gap in that top half of the ladder, and then take on the Pies. I think the week after, right? I think it's Hawthorn then the Pies.
Yeah, Hawthorn, Collingwood. Maybe Bulldogs, I think.
Bulldogs and then the Roos.
Yeah, something like that. So
none of them are technically easy. I know the Roos are, cellar dwellers, but even they've kind of found something in the last couple of weeks. So
yeah,
it's good that we're kind of finding some touch, I would say.
Yeah.
Lots of positives. And I'm kind of trying to flag as many things as I see popping up in the chat. So apologies to people. Also shout out to Roland, who's, listening from the Philippines right now. That's awesome. But 100 games, 100 days, shouting at danger. We're talking about Collar, who's I think at this point, I think it's fair to say, and I put the video together during the preseason saying that there was going to be players breathing down his neck and that he might have been in a bit of danger. And I even going into the season, it was a couple months old at that point, and I still felt kind of justified in that. But he's gone at it like a bull at a gate, and he's probably having a career best season, I would say.
A little bit shaky early, but
yeah.
Got it going. But,
who else have we got here? I'll keep trying to pump people up as they come through. Not all of them are necessary. Not necessarily all of them are the deepest of comments yet, but please, people, start throwing those ideas out there. Whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Twitter, just toss the ideas out there. We'd love to hear to his best game of the year.
Thanks for putting on that. I'll say actually to Ben that viewing party was a lot of fun.
It was good.
It was so good. Like watching the game and having the chat on as well, and just like being able to just vent the frustrations. Bloody hell! Let's go. and then also when the goals started flooding in, that was a lot of fun. So I hope we can do that again because that was great.
Collingwood and Essendon.
I did enjoy that.
It's the best kind of result, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good night. There was I look at some of those team stats, and obviously, we touched on kind of some of the midfield stuff in terms of contested possessions and those sorts of things. Sure, we lost those again, but as I was saying before, just the way that we were actually able to impact the opposition when they did get hands on ball, which is just something we haven't been able to do. We certainly couldn't do against Carlton last match, but even a chunk of those other games. I mean, Sydney, we did a pretty good job of it for the most part, but then let them get away for about 20 minutes, and that blew the game apart for us. It was just a full 4-quarter performance where we really kind of locked in on those midfielders. I was pretty stoked with it. And then obviously you sprinkle all the good news stories about some of the young blokes, whether it's Ollie Dempsey with a BOG performance. Well, he was awarded BOG. I'll leave people to kind of share their own thoughts there. But Lawson Humphries, Shannon Neal, like there's a long list of the young blokes who are really kind of stepping up and delivering it. Obviously people have been pretty keen to write us off, but I keep thinking, and I look at what's going on at that VFL team and I go, okay, like maybe some of the old blokes retire at the end of the year, maybe. But the young blokes who are ready to come in, they're pretty finely tuned at this point and showing all the right signs. I don't think it's going to be this colossal drop-off. There's no reason why we can't hold ground and start pushing up higher again, even if things do end up going pear-shaped this year. Looks
like we got Stengel back as well. So I don't know if you've heard, they're reporting that he's about to re-sign with Geelong.
I hadn't heard that yet.
No, it's been breaking everywhere the last hour. They're saying that he's already pretty much, he hasn't signed yet, but he's committed to Geelong. They actually they asked
16 minutes ago. Yeah, right.
Yeah, they asked Eddie Betts. They're like, so your wife's managing him, so
you can give some answers.
But everyone's reporting on it. Jay Clark and everything are saying he's actually committed to Geelong. So
that's amazing.
Yes, that's been a great night. So
I'll keep digging about that one while we're chatting. But that's a huge get on top of the win.
And wasn't he going to go to Essendon?
Oh, I thought so, but no.
Essendon was the one that was offering big bucks. Yeah,
probably at halftime he just walked in. And goes, so he probably walked in at halftime.
Walked in at halftime and signed a bit of paper.
Yeah. Nah, that's it. Signed and went out and kicked the bag. He's like, yep.
I'm starting to see kind of some of the tweets about it popping up now from Jay Clark and some of the others now that I'm actually looking for it. I was trying to, as I was saying to Ben Ford, was trying to kind of avoid a lot of the social commentary because Ben was obviously already doing the watch party, and I knew I was going to be doing this. I tried to kind of keep my head in the sand, but yeah, now Cal Toomey's talking about it as well. This is awesome. Yeah. And I guess it's that list management of Geelong that's worked so well over the years. You know, when you're trying to go out and poach players, and obviously we hear about Bailey Smith and who knows else, what other names might pop up. And I mean, look, people have been talking about Harley Reid. They haven't been linking into Geelong, but people talk about Harley Reid. He's a Geelong supporter going way back. Who knows? I'm just saying we can pony up 18 million, I'm sure. But like, when you're trying to go out and recruit external players, I think it's really, really important to show those players that those who are here, they're committed, they're in. If you've got a bit of an exodus going at the same time, not that this was an exodus of any sort, really. I mean, if Tyson left, it would have been one player, a very good player, but one player. But when everyone's signing on and the only people leaving are those who are retiring or being delisted or those sort of things, it's sending a really strong message to those external recruits that, you know, the people here believe in what's going on and they want to stay. And so for your Bailey Smiths or your Clayton Olivers or whoever, you know, what other names get associated with the Cats as the season goes out, whether it's scuttlebutt or there's something to it, it's exciting. It's great to see Tyson, you know, either agreeing to in principle or actually actively signing on. So I'm pretty stoked. And
it's been a good night.
Has been a good night. So what happens next week then with the game against the Hawks?
Oh, geez, I hope we win.
Seems like a clean bill of health from tonight. I didn't see anything that looked.
I think it was just Mitch Duncan. I think he just had like a full body
cramping or something at the end. Yeah,
it was just a full body. The whole body just went on him.
Look, the cameras caught it, which means, you know, old man Geelong jokes are going to be flying, I'm sure, because it wasn't a good look for him. It really kind of exaggerates the old man sort of stereotype that we've got going. But I'll take that. Like I think he put in a pretty solid game too. I know people have been pretty keen to have a crack at Mitch over the course of the season, and certainly he's been off at points, but put in a pretty good night tonight. Obviously hitting the scoreboard early, some brilliant delivery into the forwards as well. Can't complain there either. It was a good night for all of them.
I like Tui in defence as well was good.
Yeah.
Tui just really solid.
Max Holmes going back into defence, playing off half-back too, which I think then allowed the Tom Stewart thing to work a little bit easier as well. Allowed Zach Guthrie to go back to his best too. Jack Bowes, Love him.
Jack Bowes, we have 26.
26 from 62% game time.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, he's making a mockery of and this is like every week. I don't get why. And I know, like, sorry, I say I don't get, like, I feel like I'm being critical here. We're obviously managing game time. We're looking after the players' health, all those sort of things. But geez, like, if you just let that guy off the leash and go, all right, you're playing 85, 90% game time tonight, go for it.
Leave him out there. Oh, could have ended up with 50. What is
the way he was going? So
Jeez.
It was good. And I think it was about 8 inside 50s as amongst those disposals too. So it's people are sleeping on Jack Bowes and what he's doing.
Yeah.
And so glad it's being picked up here. Any other thoughts at all? So we've got a fair queue of people starting to pile in. So I'll make sure to share the love pretty soon. But Bianca, any thoughts? How the girls going? I mean, obviously we've seen some of the results lately, but now we're kind of casting an eye forward to the AFLW season as well. How are we feeling?
Confident.
Good.
Yeah. No, tell us. There were some signings. Do you remember the signings? We got a new ruck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kate Kenny.
Really
yeah. So
Kenny.
They're back. They were all at the game tonight as well. Did you see?
Yeah, actually, I'm seeing a photo now that Meg Mack posted, and I saw Gunj up there in the stands with some of the boys at different stages. Like it was good to see the whole club.
Yeah, good to have
all sections of the club all there representing. It was awesome.
Yeah, very excited. It's been a great night. It's good when you win.
Yes, it's yeah, and it's been I don't know about for you guys, but like because the last 20 years, pretty much, we're talking back to 2004. Really, the last 20 years has just been success. Like they've been winning seasons, whether they've been premiership seasons or not. They've been winning seasons almost every year, and this block of 7 or 8 weeks was a bit weird. I'd kind of for long since forgotten how to kind of handle consecutive losses and a lot of negativity and those sort of things kind of swirling around. And how do you kind of remain positive? How do you try and identify the positives? How do you have that growth mindset when it comes to what the club's doing? So it was nice to have this and just be able to, be unabashed and say a piece and not care what anyone else thinks. I've got a lot of Essendon friends who, unfortunately, I've just gone on school holidays, and so I won't be able to give it to them for a couple of weeks. But
I'll tell you what,
on tables.
It's bloody hard. I was almost thinking about a priority pick. Too many losses for our team. I don't know how these teams do it. This is just...
Yeah, how does North Melbourne do it?
Yeah.
How has Essendon been so mediocre for 20 years and no one... anyway. I've got plenty of time to sink the boots into them. We don't play them again for the season, do we? No, if we do, it'll be a final and they'll just lose it anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah. No, they're in a bit of strife, I think, with their percentage. They've dropped below 100, I think 99%.
99%.
Mate, they lose one more game, they might go out. So,
because they're just not that good.
Who was it? Someone said they're a lock for top 4. Was that?
It would have been Ben. It would have been Ben.
No. One of the top. Who was it? It might have been was it Kane Corns or something like that? Said Essendon are a lock for top 4.
There might have been something like that. A few people have been talking about it because they also have ignoring the. I can't even remember the opposition, but like they had a really, really Collingwood-esque style run home in terms of games at home. It was like 6 or 7 out of the final 8 that were all in Victoria. So you could, that gives you a chance, but when you're no good, it doesn't matter. And I think they got exposed a bit tonight.
Yep.
By a team who's not flying. Like we are still not flying. I don't think that was any sort of complete performance from the Cats by any stretch. But there we go. Apparently it was Ben Dixon.
Oh, Ben Dixon, that's the one, yeah.
That dude.
Yep, from Bounce.
Isn't he?
He's Hawthorn. He's Hawthorn.
Oh, here we go. Not even a lock for top 10. I love it. To any Essendon supporters out there that might be tuning into this stream, we love you. Clear out. Don't worry about finals. Go book a flight. You're not going to be winning anything. All right, guys. It was awesome to have you on board.
No, thank you.
Ben was suggesting John. We'll bring John in next. So stay tuned, mate. You're up next. But hope everything's going well for the two of you. I won't be doing this next week because, as has been discussed, I'll be off at a Bucks night, so I'll be well and truly preoccupied. But enjoy. Hopefully, we're celebrating another Geelong win next week as well, and I'll look forward to chatting again soon.
No worries. I'm sure we will be. Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Always good. John, you're up, mate.
We love the Bombers because we have a very good winning record against the Bombers. Apparently now it's something like 20 of 22.
Yeah, and our winning margin from the last 6 or 7 is about 50-odd points as well. So
yeah. So the plus 4.5 points at the start of the night, that was looking very nice. So no, it was a great game. I'm also glad that Ben said at the start of this stream that there's no bad takes, because I've got a few horrendous ones. Mainly
Throw them at
about
us. It's the night is young. Let's go for it.
All right, let's get some clicks in then. So mainly about the umpiring and how good it was. I thought there was
Essendon still got more free kicks than us for all of their booing, hooting, and hollering.
I know.
Those whingy, whiny pricks. They still got more free kicks than us.
Yeah, well, I just want to touch on the no pressure, the rush over the goals from
the 3 meter.
Menzie?
Yeah, it was Menzie, and he had Ollie Dempsey and someone else sweating on him. Brad Close, I think. Yeah,
Brad Close, and in real time, sure, it looks like he's under pressure and he rushes it through. But if you look at it from the goal camera angle, you can clearly see that he goes to play on, and then he sort of says to himself, nah, to hell with it, I'll rush it through. Meanwhile, both Brad Close and Ollie Dempsey, they both turn to the umpire and they're like, we're not applying any pressure. So that, in my mind, is the definition of no pressure, regardless of the distance that they are.
They were very wise, and they recognized that he'd made a decision.
Yeah.
And they let him fall on the sword.
And exactly.
Yeah, when people want to get, like, people get really pedantic about the distances and those sort of things, and I get it, because we have some really defined rules, but even like some of the strictest rules we've got in the comp still have elements of grey area as well, and this was another one of those again.
Yeah. And the rule is not distance, the rule is pressure, and he was not under pressure in that situation, and he elected to take it out of bounds. It would have been the same thing if he was on the between the 50s. Take it out of bounds. So I thought that was a interesting call. There were a couple of other really questionable calls as well. There was, what did you think about the Zach Tui front on contact with Sam Draper? That was also another controversial one.
The lack of front on contact was the decision in the end.
Yes.
Look, he made contact, I believe. And look, I'd have to watch it again. He did make contact with the arm, but I believe he made contact with the ball first.
With the ball,
and,
right.
And then at which point, and I know I know this is not basketball, but like, when it comes to fouls and in equivalent sorts of scenarios, like if you make contact with the ball and then that incidental nothing contact with an arm or something on the way down afterwards, it's not considered. I mean, look, every now and then the whistle gets blown because it's heat of the moment. It's all very fast, but it's technically not a foul. I'd like to treat it the same way here.
Yeah. It's a similar thing in the NFL where it's like, if you're a defender and you don't make eye contact with the ball, then it can be a problem. But however, if you are first making contact with the ball before the other player, then generally it's okay, even with the chop of the arms, is my understanding. So I also thought that was a passable call. I'm sure it gets paid 9 times out
for
of
sure.
10 in every game.
It's also one of those ones though where I wouldn't like this. And you've used the language, and the commentary teams used the language as well. They called it an arm chop, and I wouldn't even call it an arm chop either. An arm chop is a byproduct of you trying to spoil the ball. Yeah, he wasn't trying to spoil the ball. He was going up for a mark. Like he was trying to get hands on it and potentially intercept it and mark it. Yeah, and I mean, an arm chop, like you clearly see the other arm get knocked off the line of the ball. That didn't happen in this case. Yeah. I think. And I think there was a much ado about nothing there. I think the Bombers fans are just feeling a bit scorned because they'd potentially had a few rough ones. And look, there was the Jack Bowes one in there that they absolutely did get torched on, like that. They got robbed there. But I can't remember if that was before or after now. But
then there was the was it Ollie Henry? Sorry, Jack Henry or someone. He kicked it.
Yeah, it'll have to be Jack.
He kicked it out of the defensive 50 and it went over the head of Ryan Myers or someone who went out of bounds. I thought that should have been called insufficient intent to keep it out of bounds, but it was called a throw in just because it was in the direction of Ryan Myers, but he actually didn't make contact with it. And then there was another call later on where it was actually called. So much of a muchness, but yeah, a few interesting calls tonight. But overall, I thought the umpiring was good.
Yeah, I think for the most part it was pretty solid. Look, I think there was that couple minutes with a few contentious ones or potentially contentious ones, wrong ones if you're a Bombers supporter, that I think ruffled some feathers and I guess shone a spotlight on the umpiring. But other than that, I think they mostly didn't involve themselves in the game too much, and they were largely unnoticed, which I think is what you want from umpires, right? You don't want their influence all over the game, and I think it was mostly all right in the end.
Yeah,
I'm sure there was a mistake here or there, but nothing of any substance.
And it really was a game sort of two halves. I felt like the first half was very, very different from the second half, especially from a Geelong perspective, but also from the weather. Like, I thought that the conditions, even though we were losing in the first half, the torrential rain does typically favor us. We had a bit of rain against Richmond the other week that I was at the game, and Richmond match up really well in the rain, but I feel like a lot of other teams really struggle in the rain, and I wasn't sure how the Bombers were going to take it. And they were pretty good, but it gave us a really good opportunity to stay in the game as well at the same time. So with that, and then as soon as the second half hit, it was just all Geelong pretty much from there on out.
Yeah, and you could kind of see the signs even in the second term anyway. The Bombers kick a couple. There was a couple that I wouldn't say, like, they didn't benefit from free kicks. They were fortunate ones, balls bouncing the right way, that sort of thing. And some good chains where we'd missed a target or something like that, and they rebounded. But you could even see through that, through the second quarter in particular, but throughout that first half, you're like, okay, they're close. Like, they could click here, and at which point we'll blow them away. And then sure enough, they did. They just needed the break to, tweak a few things, rebalance, retool, and then go again. And there was no going back from that point. So
it was tough for the Bombers in the second half. I mean, one goal in the third quarter and then one goal in the fourth quarter, and that was it. So 2 goals for the entire second half when it stopped raining. So, yeah, I think Geelong played a really, really good game. Few players, I think, are stepping up as that sort of next generation talent. Jack Bowes, I talk about him all the time to Ben. I think Ben's taken a long time to come around. I don't know if he's still being a bit stubborn about it, but
he hasn't warmed as fast as he should.
Yeah,
and I can still see he's in this call. I don't know if he's listening in, but Ben, get your shit together, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it's undeniable at this point. Stop being stubborn. Ollie Dempsey has been playing some phenomenal football as well. For one of the younger guys, his disposals most weeks, I mean, against the Tigers the other week, he led all Geelong players in disposals. Had another great game this week with 25, 412 meters gained, 2 goals as well. So he's piling on the goals. He's getting the disposals. There's not really much more you can ask from that.
I know when Harley, I'm going all rising star here, but when Harley Reid and Sam Darcy both got rubbed out the same week, his name was obviously one of the ones that kind of bubbled to the top. And look, I haven't studied the competition as much since that week, but right now I feel like he's the front runner. I feel like he's
kind of big. Yeah.
So, and Jackie McDonald just piled into the chat to share the same
for Rising Star. Exactly.
Someone's got to really light it up, and Ollie's probably got to get injured or fall out. Not that we want that, but I feel like there's got to be something that's going to, there's got to be some sort of serious intervention at this point. And Ethan's kind of shouted out that Wardlaw's missing this week, and that helps as well. And who knows how long that goes for? I don't know. Ethan, feel free to pile in the comment. I haven't studied the Wardlaw situation. I don't know if it's a single week style injury, if we're talking about multiple weeks or anything like that. But it feels like the competition's not there for him now. He's going to Stephen Bradbury his way through to a rising star.
I
guess Bradbury was kind of really undeserving and kind of lucked out. Ollie Dempsey's put it together an amazing set. He would have been a phenomenal, third place. He's just going to luck out a little bit.
But I feel like it's not even a bold take anymore to say that Ollie Dempsey is in that contention as well at the same time. So playing really well.
Great season. What's the season averages now? Like he'd be. Let me bring it up. Cats, advance, back to basics. Where are we? Disposals. He's averaging, if I can find him, he's averaging 17 disposals a game.
Yeah.
Goal a game, or just under goal a game.
And for someone who's
game time, like he's
forward as well, to be averaging that much, to be getting the goals, it's sort of like I'm not saying he's Isaac Heaney or whatever, but like that light version of you want that player. You want that player who's getting the disposals, getting the goals, who's putting it all together, who's being a team player. I think he's up there in marks as well, meters gained for the team as well, time on ground. I love what you were saying before about Jack Bowes, that he was 62% time on ground. He was, other than the medical subs, the emergency subs, he was the least player on the ground by a long shot. And he definitely led all Geelong players with disposals as well. So
He's averaging 60. He's averaging 64% game time this season, Jack Bowes.
That's crazy.
Like,
I wonder why.
Yeah, like if his fitness is not there, and so like he comes on more as like an impact player.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's got to be that,
the way we've been kind of rolling the midfield over the course of the last couple of seasons. Like it was even late last year, and I did this a lot when I was chatting with Ben about it. Like, surely they're going to. Yes, Henry, we won. As long as we is Geelong, we won by 45 points. The midfield, like Danger last year, like, okay, they're going to unleash the beast here because we need to make a surge for finals, and they just wouldn't. They're so committed to balancing the game time, like for the midfield unit, rolling them through, making sure they get plenty of rest. They're really playing the long game, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's scenarios where you look at what Jack Bowes has been accomplishing week in, week out, and you go, why? Why are you only paying 64% game time and averaging 17 disposals a match?
Yeah. So
why is that not 80% you're in the 20s? Like,
I'm really glad that you said that, because this is like the Chris Scott just mantra this season, how it's going. It's we come out strong. Through the middle of the season, we have an absolute lull. Now, this is a particular lull that we're going through. But then basically
once a serious slump.
It's been bad. But once the bye weeks are past, I feel like this is where Geelong shine. And usually we have tougher matchups. But I think the run home is pretty favorable, especially having beaten Essendon. Next week got the Hawks. Last time the Hawks played in Geelong, I don't even know when that was. Do you?
I suspect it wasn't that long ago in the end, because they've been kind of mediocre for the last few years, and that's what allows your Hawthorns and Richmonds and Essendons and Carltons, those sorts of teams, to actually go down the highways when they're not drawing like they normally would.
Usually, if we ever play them, it's always the Easter Monday games. So that's where I'm sort of like, if we did play them a second time, would it have been recently? I'm not sure. So then we've got the tough matchup against Collingwood, potentially at the MCG, and then we've got the Dogs. But then it's pretty favorable from then on. It's North Melbourne, it's Adelaide, Freo, St Kilda, West Coast. Those are all really, really winnable games. I know Freo usually gets the better of us, especially that's going to be in Perth. But I think that's a pretty favorable run home for us to make the 8.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think we're in a good spot in that regard to kind of chase down that final spot. I would like to be kind of banking the wins against some of the higher quality teams. It's kind of a shame that we've saved our worst for that middle block of the season, which was going to be the real test.
Yeah.
Whether it's the informed team of the comp, as long as they play at home, Gold Coast, whether it's Carlton on the return trip, we've played some really good teams, and we've just not been up to it at the time. And if it's part of the management of the team, I appreciate it. I don't know, there's a psychology behind the whole thing as well, and I would like to hope that my team is going into finals having banked some wins against the competition that they're then going to be playing through the finals.
Yeah,
instead of the cellar dwellers. So
fair enough. I'm not too concerned about the losses to the Gold Coast in Darwin. They always win there. They haven't lost there before.
Yeah, they haven't lost there. They haven't lost at home all season, as they continue today.
Yeah, thanks, Carlton did get one back on us, and it was a bad loss. My concerns are more in how much we lose by. Like, we're giving up a lot of 100-point plus losses. Now, I think tonight was a great example of how we didn't do that. And I think that's what we need to keep going. I don't care if we lose. It's when we lose by conceding 100 points that really, really bothers me. And I think that we can't take that into the finals. But I think that this is the part where we start to shine and we start to imprint our name again as the Geelong Cats, the run home.
Yeah, I think I said it before when I was chatting to Brendan and Bianca, and I think I said it again when I was chatting to Ben. It's the way we impact the opposition midfield. We're not going to necessarily, with the players we've got and where they're at developmentally, we're not necessarily going to light it up there at the moment. But what you can bring is that defensive pressure, the stuff that impacts the delivery inside 50 for the opposition. And we look at Essendon's numbers tonight, like our inside 50 efficiency, 46.4%, just slightly below our average.
Yeah.
Essendon's, though, their average is 44.5, 31.7 tonight.
Yeah.
It was just the way that they kind of nipped that energy, that delivery in the bud, and made it harder for their forwards.
Yeah, what's interesting though is one of our biggest problems last week against the Blues was stoppages, and Essendon didn't change that formula. They were all over us. They were 59 to 27 in hitouts, 46 to 38 in clearances, and those were our two biggest problems last week. But for some reason this week, we kind of almost conceded that was going to be a problem for us. It was stoppages. But what was the next part that we were going to get on top of? And it was that defensive. Maybe it was moving Tom Stewart into the middle. Maybe it was having Patrick Dangerfield have a game back from a game back.
Look, that would help for sure.
Right moves. Yeah, and the young guys are really, really stepping up for us as well. I mean, you've already talked about the new and improved Lawson Humphreys in his first game. He really stepped up as well. I think a lot of people would be talking about him because he really played an impact role. It was kind of reminiscent for me of, do you remember like Brad Close's first game? And it was within like the first 2 minutes or something like that, he kicked 2 goals and he just burst onto the scene and never looked back. It was sort of similar for Brian Myers as well. And I love when these young cats come in and they just explode in their first game. And it's like, okay, we've got a good feeling in the tummy about this one.
And look, the club has long done a good job of ensuring that players are ready to go. They're not giving them easy games. And I'm not saying other clubs do that as well, but I think there's an assuredness internally when it's time to debut Lawson Humphreys or it's time to debut a Mitch Nevitt or whoever it happens to be. Like, okay, we've put the yards in or we've seen what we want to see and it's time to go. I'm quickly just skimming back through some of the earlier games in the season, in reference to the clearance numbers, the hitouts. So far, I've only seen one game that we've actually won those numbers, and that was against Adelaide. That's where kind of my whole thing comes from. Like even in that block where we were winning, the Dogs have got us there as well. Not surprising though, I guess, with their midfield. In that whole block where we were winning, it wasn't clearances that was getting the job done. Like we were losing in that regard, but I think what worked, and because we've always been such a good team at the intercept and then reset and launch from the defensive half. But because the opposition has had it so easy delivering inside 50 for that block of 7 or 8 games, our defenders had nothing to work with. And we don't have the tallest defenders in the world. We're great aerialists, but we do that as the third man in. And we've not been able to play that role because the ball's been coming in at, chest height, lace out, perfect disposal because the midfield couldn't impact. Tonight was that step back in the right direction where it was more like those 7 or 8 games where, sure, we still couldn't get first hands on the ball. And yes, the clearance numbers still favoured Essendon because they are ultimately kicking it out of the midfield or whatever it happens to be. But the quality of that kick out of the midfield was greatly diminished and again, kind of reflected in that effective inside 50 number. So,
and just like one of the final thoughts I want to raise as well is to what you're saying. It's like the way that Tyson Stengel is stepping up, the way that we don't have the tallest team in the world, but we're trying to make up for it. But the way that like Brad Close and Brian Myers all step up, like Tyson Stengel was taking some absolute insane marks over. Was it Jordan Ridley? Was like his main.
Yeah, there was a couple there. He just was playing well above himself,
well above his height. And Tyson Stengel was like, nah, no problem. He was all over him tonight.
Tyson Stengel is a low key good contested mark. he just bodies. His timing is good. It's not because he's brute forcing anyone, of course, but he just bodies so well.
He plays.
I found 3 games so far where we've won the clearances, and it was Adelaide, Richmond, and North Melbourne.
Yeah.
And if there's a fourth, I haven't found it yet. But I'm kind of clicking
probably the bottom 4 teams. Although Adelaide had a win tonight, so good for them.
So yeah, it's not our strength, but it's how we kind of take advantage, find strengths in our weaknesses. Yeah. And they worked for us in the first 7-8, worked again tonight, and hopefully they've got that connection going again.
Yeah, it's a good feeling going into next week against the Hawks at home. I'm going to be at the game as well, so it'll be exciting to cheer them on. It kind of feels like a bit of a letdown spot. We'll see how the Hawks go tomorrow. I think they play the Eagles, so in 2020.
This is just in reference to the playing Geelong in Geelong. It was back in 2020, but it was a COVID year, so it doesn't count. Lots of things don't count, including the grand final that year. Didn't happen.
Prior to that, it was 2006. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
I remember that game actually. It was a bit of a soul destroyer, that one.
Well, we have a chance to rewrite the history books next week. So I'm looking forward to it.
Any other thoughts at all?
My final thoughts would be, I thought Paddy Dangerfield played a really, really good game. I thought he was sort of back to form and stepping up especially while Hawkins is having a bit of a rest at the moment. Oh, and yes, I do have one final thought, and I've been banging on about this for a really long time. So I'm glad to bring this one out. You probably can't see this if I turn my camera.
The focuses. I can see it's a heat map, but I can't
Heat map. It's Jeremy Cameron, and he's back up forward again. 81% in the forward half, in the forward pocket. I'll just bring myself back. That's what I want to see. That's how we win games. And I've been banging on about that for a while, that halfway through the season, they were playing him on the wing, in the midfield. Didn't love it. Let's just go back to basics.
Yeah, play a forward as a forward. Like, he can get up the ground and he can help, but he's got to be based deeper. And so
that's it.
Yeah, it works. It works. God forbid it works.
If nothing else.
Well, John, it's been awesome to have you on board, mate. Thanks for sharing all your thoughts. I mean, it's good to be chatting off the back of a win. And as I said to Brendan and Bianca, I won't get to do this next week, but it's good to chat again, and hopefully we'll be doing so at least in a couple of weeks, if nothing else.
Exactly. All right.
Thanks, mate. Have a good one. May the wins continue.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot, mate. I'll see you later. Let's get Ethan in. I know he's pressed for time today, time zones being what they are.
Yeah, hey, can you hear me all right?
I can. Loud and clear.
Yeah, you may be able to tell this is not my usual setting. I am actually out here in Miami.
Yeah, nice.
Show you a little bit of the view.
Got the hotel apartment going. Ooh.
Yeah, here for a friend's bachelor party. While they were sleeping, I was watching the game. I did get them to watch the Tide Suns game.
What'd they make of it?
Most of them hadn't seen it before, but were fascinated.
Just one at a time. We're converting people to the greater cause. You're doing your bit.
But
finder's fee. We'll get the AFL to pay you out soon.
I think we got our swagger back. I didn't feel this way after the Richmond game. I did today. And the biggest difference was just like, I know it didn't affect the outcome much, but getting that late goal for Nevitt and rewarding him and seeing the guys all get around him, that just looks so much more like us.
Beautiful goal too, by the way. The little inside-out banana there.
Yeah. First half, we were not very good. Let's be real. Outside of Dempsey. Dempsey was terrific start to finish. But Essendon didn't take advantage of their shots, and I was on a Twitter conversation with Kyrie, and it said at halftime, like, they had their chances and didn't take advantage. Now it's our turn. And sure enough, we started cashing in. And I thought really three guys that really delivered in the third quarter and kind of set the tone were Blitzovs, Nevitt, and Myers. And
Blitzovs is a name that's not come up so far, but he's certainly one that I want to discuss in more depth because he's been struggling so far this season, but that was a step back in the right direction.
Best game of the year for him.
Yeah.
So
very happy to see it.
Not
that he absolutely dominated. I think he was 15. Where are we? Yeah, 15 disposals, 10 kicks, 5. But like there was the inside 50s. The clearance numbers were there. It was the right numbers in the right places.
It was a very marked Blitzovs game where he's rarely going to get you 20 plus, but with his 15 to 17, he makes a huge impact.
And the intercepts floating back into defense and spoiling the ball or taking the intercept mark. That's where you really get your bang for the buck.
I thought Nevitt got way more involved in the third quarter. I don't know if he was challenged at halftime or what, but it seemed like both Nevitt and Myers really, really embraced the challenge and got way more involved. And we were finding pressers in the midfield. We ran that game from the middle for once, because that hasn't happened much against competent teams that aren't ravaged by injuries really since that first game against Carlton. So that felt really good.
Yeah, I don't think I have the ability on at least the browser version of the AFL website to kind of separate our clearances, those sorts of figures quarter by quarter. I think on the phone app you potentially can, but
funny which things you do on browser versus mobile.
It's so weird.
But third quarter, the tone changed. Even after they had gotten the quick goal to retake the lead, we looked like we should. And
I can't. Even on the app, I can't. But anyway, sorry.
I'm obviously biased, but I thought Brian played a huge part in that.
Yes, no, absolutely. I mean, yeah, you could, as you said yourself, Brian really got himself into the game at that stage. Some great, just quick touches, fast hands, little stabbing kicks. he really started to light it up in the second half. He had been kind of squashed a little bit up to that point. He had been blunted a little bit, but came good in the second half there. It was great to see. And as you mentioned, Mitch Nevitt and some of the others really waxed with him through that second half in particular.
And it's funny, I thought Jack Henry's first half was abysmal, and second half he did a much better job on Peter Wright. And if we're going to choose, would you rather have him be overly passive or overly aggressive? I like him taking the risks, because there was one where he gambled and I think he partially spoiled it, and then a couple of the smaller defenders kind of came to his assistance, and that worked really well.
Yeah, I think the way they played Peter Wright was much better in the second half. It allowed Jack Henry to play in front of him as he was before, but the problem was in the first half is that Peter Wright could then reach over the top and leverage the height, the jump, the strength, all those kind of assets that he's got. He was able to leverage those and kind of dominate a little bit early on. I don't think Jack Henry was failing in his role there, but he didn't have the structure set up correctly around him to actually, with that height difference, to be able to offset it. So then, as you said, some of the small blokes piling in, you could allow Jack Henry just back straight into the contest, just crash into the body, but in legitimate ways because you're just backing up, and then have someone kind of sandwich him from behind with the spoil as well, and it completely ruled him out of the game at that particular stage. So whilst Jack Henry was then able to bring it down, and the ball would inevitably fall in front of a Jack Henry who's kind of backed into that space, has cleared the room in front of him, can then launch from there and take off it. That strategic change in terms of how they were handling Peter Wright was perfect for his game.
Also, I thought Lawson Humphreys set up some really good attacks out of the back, and that was even in the first half when we weren't playing that well, our attacks from the back were really good, and we had these chains. Yeah. I loved Humphreys being the one to take the kickouts, because it kind of just went boom, 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 like Humphreys, Zach Guthrie, Holmes, and then we're into the midfield, and then we're going forward, and that's something that at times we were really missing.
Yeah.
I fail to understand why he wasn't in sooner, because he clearly proved his part tonight.
Yeah, look, I mean, Chris Scott, I think during the week in one of his press conferences kind of alluded to the fact that we've been thinking about this for a while. I don't know why they then decided not to pull the trigger in some of those early weeks. So I think he showed that it was absolutely worth it immediately today. But it might have been a team balance thing. It might have been kind of how they were looking to rotate people through anyway. And so his time was just kind of dependent on what was going on with some of the experienced blokes coming back and various other strategic decisions. So look, he's in now, and he certainly, I would imagine, gave the coaches no reason to drop him. Certainly my eye test and numbers wise, I go, okay, he's there next week. But
and then I thought Duncan was funny. He had a couple of really poor turnovers early, and then I thought he actually settled in really well and looked faster than he had the last few weeks. I think a lot of it just stemmed from the injection of Humphreys. I don't know. I guess I would call it an injury sub, because he was it seemed like he was getting stuff full body soreness.
Yeah, he seemed to have a full body cramp kind of late in the piece there. So I don't think, to the point of the question there, I don't think it's anything serious, nothing for us to be worried about. But
I would think he gets managed in the next couple of weeks at some point, just because that's how we've handled him. But he got a lot better as the game went on. Dangerfield was consistent throughout, and
his strength really shone through on a couple of occasions. The way he would burst through a contest or shrug off a player who's trying to tackle. He showed his years of experience and strength. And so far, so good when it comes to the way he's managing that hamstring now, in terms of the way he's playing. You are seeing what he's discussed in the news with this approach to the way he runs at the ball. He is, and Danger's always been one to throw himself at the ball on the ground, but in terms of the way he's playing, he's not trying to stand full size and burst through. He is getting lower into the contest and protecting the hamstrings a little bit more. Hopefully that bodes well for him going forward as well. That tiny little technical change, the way he approaches the ball, who knows, could add years, because he hasn't lost his speed, he hasn't lost his strength, he can still launch the ball 60 meters whenever he needs to. The mind is willing. If that little strategic change allows the body to go with him, then who knows, we could have another couple of years from Danger.
I don't know if the Stewart midfield thing is going to be a long-term fix. I like the idea of kind of rotating him in and out, though, just to get opponents out of their rhythm with trying to tag him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think it's a way that you can kind of lose that defensive forward in the process because he'll drift back. I think it'll be a simple case of, Max Holmes coming off half back. He's the easy one to just do a direct swap with at points, right? Where Tom Stewart just drifts into defense, Max Holmes drifts up, but that defensive forward is now committed to someone else and they've got to try and work out how to get to the contest that they want. That gives Tom Stewart some time to float in as that third tall, and they can just kind of hand slap each other as they're moving up and down the field. Okay, you're a midfielder now, go back to... They can kind of interchange that very much on the fly. And I think both players would have the license from the coaching staff to go, you make the call based on the needs of the scenario to just do that.
I still don't think we necessarily played as well defensively as the 60 we allowed shows. I think it probably should have been more interesting. I mean, let's be real. Wright and Stringer dropped a few second half that they could have had.
Oh, for sure.
But this was a step forward. I just hope we don't look at this defensively and automatically decide everything's fixed. So I think this was a step in the right direction, but I don't think it's the full solution.
I would argue defensively, and I don't know if I'm getting too carried away here, defensively in terms of specifically the players who line up in defense, they've had some moments that have not been great, but I'd say defensively this year, we've been just fine. It's just been that, I keep going back to that midfield thing and the lack of defensive pressure through the midfield and the inability to kind of impact the explosive midfields we've come up against. I think that has been where the weakness was, and that wasn't a weakness tonight. We were able to shut that down, or at least we still conceded the clearances, but we were able to impact the players as they were getting possession on it. We positioned ourselves better. We, took the body better. All those sorts of little things, those little off the ball, not moments, things that you do when you don't have possession that impacted the delivery inside 50, and it, created a 34% effective inside 50 disposal figure for Essendon.
I would still like to see Buse get a game over Kolajashny. Kolajashny had a couple of really bad turnovers in the first half. He settled in after, but I thought it would still be a welcome change. I don't think Buse has done anything to merit not getting in.
Yeah.
The
Buse one is a tricky situation at the moment because it was only 12 months ago that he was absolutely in our best 23, and then he's completely fallen out of favour. And I didn't expect that. I didn't expect it this soon. But then I see some of his VFL numbers, and he's not necessarily been dominating in that space like we've kind of known him to be as well. Like, you would expect that seasoned AFL player to go down to the VFL and kind of dominate there, but we haven't really seen much of that, really. And that's kind of been, I guess, my argument at the moment as to why he should potentially remain out of the team. I think he's more than capable, but we're just, for some reason, he's just not asserting that dominance that he should have over a VFL lineup.
And then my last couple thoughts. I'm still not a fan of the Sam DeConing ruck experiment, but I thought second half, I actually did like the way, even if he wasn't getting hit outs, he was just asserting himself more physically and getting in there and making life tougher so that Draper or Goldstein couldn't have just like a free hit out to advantage that would lead to an easy clearance. Because the clearances Merritt got were mostly freebies, whereas the ones Caldwell got, he had to work for. Caldwell,
and he got 12 of them to his great credit as well.
Yeah.
I will note that it's taken over an hour for anyone to talk about the ruck tonight. So thank you for doing your part in dragging that one out. It's nice to not be talking about our ruck situation much.
I'd still rather see Con in there, but I thought we made it work. I like getting blitz-outs in there more. And I thought, despite our history with Essendon, I was concerned because I thought this isn't quite the same old Essendon. They're tougher, certainly. They get clearances in the middle. Durham, you saw what he can do in the first half, and I thought this was a tricky matchup because they're much more physical than past Essendon teams where we've just kind of run them over.
Yeah.
And we managed to, I think, kind of get them to the point of submission second half, where I think by the early fourth quarter, we kind of got them to mail it in. So I was pretty happy with the way that wrapped up. Closing thoughts, we got to give Ollie Dempsey the biggest contract possible. That was sort of game that makes you think this guy's a premiership player, and we got to do everything to make sure Lawson Humphreys is happy and does not want to go home to the West, because he's going to be a big-time part of our future so long as he wants to be.
I think he was up Broomway, so like he doesn't have a. I mean, he might be a WA boy, but he doesn't have a team that's kind of close to home. It's still going to be a big separation from family.
He did play Swan Districts, but that was such a welcome injection of life and speed, and we were able to play a lot faster.
Yeah.
So
there was a lot of positives there. Obviously, we've kind of kick-started the ruck conversation now. So, some thoughts here that Conway still needs to play. And look, I would agree, but at the same time, there's pros and cons that go with it. Sam de Koning and Mark Blitzarves can provide that little bit extra through the midfield that I think Toby Conway can't yet because he's just bigger, slower, and they're far more athletic.
I guess maybe it's a matchup thing. Like, I think I would go Conway against Lloyd Mead this next week, who I really like. I wish we had gotten him.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. Chris P in the chat. Brad Ottens, time to come out of retirement.
You remember a couple years ago when it was at 22 when we lost to Frio at home, and I thought, ooh, no Darcy, we're gonna roll, and then Meek just came in and totally delivered. So I've liked Meek, and I think I think that is an opportune matchup for Conway, one that's less speed based and more bulk based. Similar to like why you take your chances with him against like a Jared Witz.
Yes.
But needed this one, and it just, unlike the Richmond win, this looked like it was supposed to look. I
would say even in the first half where things weren't perfect, I think you're still right.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe we shouldn't have quite won by 45. Maybe it should have been more like a 20-ish point win, but we were the better team. We deserved to win. We looked like ourselves. And let's keep getting. I hope each week we have another debutant to work in because Humphreys was really good.
Yeah, no, I thought he played really well, and so now we need to get Mitch Hardy in, and we need to keep let's get more and more of them in. Let's keep it up. Let's go.
Let's get Closey in. Get all these guys in. Willis, Stevens. Let's do it.
They're all showing the right sorts of signs. So we were the better team. Facts. Nailed it against
Be better finally. Rolling. It's a big stretch of games.
Yeah, we're in a good spot. It's obviously we set ourselves up with a strong start to the season that we were able to kind of endure a bit of a slump. Hopefully we kind of got the post-bye loss out of the system, and now we can kind of keep surging with some opponents that more often than not we should be able to theoretically beat. And yeah, either moment's kind of shouted out, and I kind of let it slip by Ben's comment question there about Ollie Henry coming back through the VFL. Yeah, Ben's been big on this idea that it can't be both for quite some time. And so far this season, he's kind of proven to be right. But my argument around that situation was that I felt like Gary Rowan was being done dirty coming off the sub bench for, well, basically since his return from injury. And no surprise that he lit it up tonight, his first opportunity to play a full 4-quarter match.
Second half, I really liked him. There was a couple of sequences that he and Brian were in on together. I think Rowan really benefits from being on the receiving end of some of the Myers kicks.
Oh, for sure.
I think maybe him more than any other player, honestly.
Yeah, no, I'd be inclined to agree with that. It's just suits it, like it's short, it's sharp, and it's very, very well directed. A grind Myers kick inside 50 is very well directed, as is obviously spoken about so often. And for Gary Rowan, that's perfect because he's got the speed to break away from his opponent and just charge into that line.
Anyway,
and there's no flat. Yeah.
Anyway, that's all for me. I will be rocking this shirt tonight at the Argentina game, although Messi is out injured.
Oh, what's the point then, right?
Still should be a blast. Anyway, feels a lot better off a win. Makes the whole day just seem a lot better. You know?
It does, and you've corrupted the minds of some new folks as well, new friends of the game, and hopefully they stick around too. Make sure they're in blue and white for us, though. Okay.
Yes. Have a good one.
Awesome. Enjoy, mate. We'll see you later. Next up, Kiri, how's things, mate?
Oh, how good! Beat the Bombers. Well, Tell you what, Paul. The first half. Sorry, I've got to come down with something, but I'll try my best.
It's what success does to your voice from time to time. It's okay. I completely understand.
First half, I wasn't impressed. I'll be honest. Like, I thought, I'll talk about the ruck again. I thought, having Mark Blitzarves and Sam DeConing, I thought, oh no, we can't be doing this again. You've got Todd Goldstein and
Sam Draper.
Sam Draper in the ruck as well. And I thought to myself, we can't drop this game, against Essendon as well. And I even said in the show last week, Essendon are frauds. How are we losing to them? But
yeah, they're kind of hacks.
Second half we turned around. The third quarter was just brilliant. Like it was, third quarter was brilliant. Everything seemed to click in. Ollie Dempsey, I thought, was the standout for me.
Rising star.
Was very rising star. You can lock it in. Take it.
Drop
to the
your star emotes in the chat, people.
Jack Bowes, Max Holmes, and Lawson Humphreys. How good was he? Like someone I've been calling in to get in the side, and he took his opportunity. He just looked very clean with the ball, very calm and composed, and I thought he was very good tonight. And Jack Henry, he got better as the game went along as well. I thought, oh my goodness, what's happened to him? But it was a great win. Great to be back. Great to be back on the board.
Good. Now, look, I think I've done the Jack Henry conversation tonight to death a little bit, but yeah, I think the way we strategically rearranged the pieces around the him and Peter Wright matchup, I think really suited him. He was never going to beat Peter Wright for height. He was, he had a few different factors that were not, in his favor, and it wasn't ability. Ability was not one of those things, but he was up against it. And the way we kind of reconfigured that matchup a little bit with him playing in front, backing into Peter Wright with someone who's ultimately didn't have the height of either of them, usually a small piling in from behind and just kind of sandwiching Peter Wright in the middle, making it really, really hard for him to kind of get proper hands on the ball, allow the ball to spill in front of Jack Henry, and then him to build some confidence by kind of bursting away from the contest there at that particular point. Keep sending those stars in for Ollie Dempsey, people, because I'm enjoying pinning those to the call at the moment. But
absolutely.
I think it really suited him the way we kind of shuffled the deck a little bit in that defensive end in the second half.
No, absolutely. And also a special shout out to who was it? Gary Rowan as well.
Yep.
I thought he played his best game of the year. Put him in for a full game. We'll see.
Look what happens, right?
Look what happens. Like, he doesn't get much of the ball, but once he has it, he just absolutely hurts the opposition and stuff like that. Like, why is he wasted as the sub? I could tell you what, the last couple of weeks, if we put him on for a full game, maybe things might have been different. Maybe the margin against Carlton could have been a bit different as well. Like, I'd sign him on for another year. It's unbelievable. As long as his body's right, like, he was brilliant as well.
And for him, that injury was a back. It wasn't a hamstring. And not that we don't want to scoff at back injuries. Obviously, that can be incredibly debilitating, as we saw with Tom Hawkins for a few years. But Gary Rowan, they're not hamstrings. They're not leg-related things, which is obviously his greatest strength. It's not shoulder-based stuff, though, because his next greatest strength, of course, is his marking ability. He's so strong over his head. And he's able to maintain both of those. I just don't see any reason why he shouldn't be in the starting 18 on any given week and using that speed. I know Ollie Henry is the future in that position, and he brings his own. Like, he's far more mercurial in terms of his aerial capabilities on the ground. He attracts the ball more. He kind of has that better, I think, game sense a little bit. But but there's some intangibles that Gary Rowan brings that I think warrants him remaining there until his body starts to actually give out on him. And hopefully that's not anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
As I'm sure it's Ben in the comments there, shouts out. If you enjoy the show, hit the subscribe button. Please make sure to do so. It's been we're about 4-5 hours now of streaming tonight between Ben doing the Darty Party live stream and now post game live. There's been a lot going on the Hoops channel tonight, so go check out all the stuff we've got there, the Patreon, all those sort of things. I'll stop shilling for now. We'll get back to any more of that stuff later on. Any less not. Sorry to spring this on you, but I guess everyone, the conversation has been so overwhelmingly positive so far. Is there anything that didn't quite catch the eye, didn't quite work for us tonight that you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, again, I'll just probably say like just the slow starts. I reckon, especially in the first half. It's been an ongoing trend. I just think if we cut out, because more than capable, what we saw in the third quarter, we're capable of beating anyone. If we just go back to the fundamentals, put Jeremy, like I saw the first quarter, Jeremy Cameron did not touch the football at all until like in the last few seconds of the game. Yeah. I thought, well, what's going on? Go back to the fundamentals. Put him back in the goal square, up forward and stuff like that. Look, we know what he can do around the ground, but we paid him $1 million for him to kick goals, man. That's what we got him at the Cattery for. I'm not having a go at him and stuff like that.
No, of course not.
Don't get me wrong, but we signed him to kick goals, and I guess once we put him up in the forward line, it all started to click in for him. Again. Just go back to the fundamentals. Do what we worked on when we were 7-0, and we showed that in the second half.
Yeah, there was lots that was good about the second half, and you could kind of see the signs in the first, but they couldn't quite click. And that includes the likes of Jeremy Cameron there. But things really got going in the second half. My one, I'm not going to go as far as to call it a negative, but maybe just a discussion point for selection going into this week. And I hate to do this because I rate the guy incredibly highly. I think Jai Clark maybe needs a week just to rest, like just to manage him and look after the body. Not because he's doing the wrong things. He's getting to the right spots. He's competing. But he just looks a bit tired now. And he's done a lot of heavy lifting when some of the experienced boys have been out injured.
Spot on.
I'd like to see him get a rest just to recharge and come back at it again. I don't want to see him out long. But
absolutely,
just give him that week to look after himself.
Yeah, you're spot on with that, Paul, because I think the thing with Jai Clark, I think we could see what he can do. I think the energy he puts out in the field, second to none. But I think he's at that level where Ollie Dempsey was last year. He's shown flashes of potential, but he's not quite there yet. Hopefully 2025 next year, he'll be a regular on the team. He could break out because once he gets the fundamentals in, and all of that, watch out. He's going to be a gun. But I do agree with you, Paul. Like, maybe give him the spell in the twos, get his confidence back up. But yeah, I think next year is going to be a breakout year for him, along with some of the other kids as well, like Mitch Devitt, who was really good too.
Yeah.
I loved his goal at the end as well. That was just fantastic.
Oh, beautiful goal. Actually, I talk about that goal. We've kind of, and no one has addressed it so far, but I'd argue Ollie Dempsey maybe kicked goal of the year tonight with that little outstepper soccer goal off the back of Essendon, just soccering the ball everywhere. He comes in and shows everyone how it's done at the very for a goal there. That was beautiful. But
rising star and goal of the year, and if he just held on to some of the
one of these days, he's going to clunk one of these things.
He's going to get one. He could have the treble.
I doubt it's ever. Well, no, it definitely hasn't ever happened. But have we ever had someone get goal of the year and mark of the year in the same season? Where's Swamp when you need him? But yeah, the Jai Clark one, I think his game is good and he's getting to the right positions. He gets his hands on the ball. His body's just not there yet. I think that's he wants to play the really combative bash and crash game. But at the moment, he gets hands on the ball and he tries to push through,
Yeah.
and he just doesn't have the upper body strength yet.
Yeah.
And I'm sure part of that, is affected by the injuries last season and how that kind of hampered, his developmental progression there. He's not having those issues this season, thankfully. Hopefully, touch wood, nothing gets in the way of him for the remainder of the season. But yeah, let's give him a break now to recharge. That might just get the extra juice in the legs and get the little bit of extra energy in the body to break through some contests, to not have to play a role that he's not yet ready for, like he was having to do in that kind of 7 or 8 game block with Danger out and Guthrie kind of in and out. I mean, obviously Guthrie's still out, but Bose was out. And there was a whole bunch of blokes around him who were kind of important that weren't there. And he was having to shoulder a lot more than I think he should have to shoulder it at his age. And his body's probably taken a bit of a beating for it. So I'd like to see him get a week and then, yeah, to your point about the off season, if he can bulk up, I think he's already got the game ready. I think the coaches are very happy with the game he's playing. He just needs to be able to break through, develop a dusty fend off, whatever it is that he needs. He's getting close. Jackie's jumped in and said, out coming. Clark in Ted. I assume Ted Closey.
Ted Closey. Oh, he's knocking on the door as well. Definitely.
Yeah, they're queuing up, right? It's crazy. I mean, Mitch Hardy, we were all talking about a couple of weeks ago, and he hasn't dropped off, but Lawson jumped him in the end. I do hope that, especially because of the mid-season draft component thing with Mitch Hardy, I do hope he gets a game sometime soon. I remember the commentary around, I've forgotten his name now, but our last mid-season draft player who we brought on and then dropped at the end of that same season. Now, that's not what's happened here, but I want to see our mid-season draftees get a game, and Mitch deserves it too. So it wouldn't be undeserving.
Was it Zane Williamson a couple of years ago, 2022?
Yeah, maybe I can't remember.
Yeah.
Because whoever it was made some media comments afterwards as well saying, well, no, I think that, the mid-season drafting, it shouldn't be 6 months. It should be 18 months. So you can at least get a preseason and those sort of things.
Yeah.
Time to acclimatise.
I remember Zane Williams because he came from the Sandford. He came from my club, Sandford Club, Woodville West Torrens. And I thought, we got Tyson Steen. We'll have Zane Williams. Here we go. But it's just a hard side to get into with all the small and medium-sized forwards. So bit unlucky. He's killing it in the Sandford at the moment now. So, but hope he gets.
And I think Mitch will stick around on the list, but I just want him to get a game. I just really want him to get a game.
Sure. So definitely, and he's another one as well, another product from the Sandford too. So more Sandford players, please. That'd be great.
Yeah, Jackie's right. There's Ted Closey. We've got either moment jumping in there talking about Mitch Hardy. We've got George Stevens that's doing great things there. Obviously, we got the opportunity to see Mitch Nevitt return. We saw Lawson come in. We're seeing, and they're all making that step and looking relatively comfortable at the level too. So they're not getting too overawed by the speed of the game or anything like that, which is awesome.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Shannon Neal? I thought, yes, he didn't hit the scoreboard as much, but I thought his aerial presence was really good. And I think we're going to be okay without Tom Hawkins for the time he's out as well. Like, I thought he was good too.
Yeah, I thought Shannon Neal did a good job. There was always going to be some of that pressure that he was going to feel just by the fact that he's got to step into Tom Hawkins' role. And this is a guy who's played 359 games. He's an AFL legend and will be inducted as one, I'm sure, down the line. We're all talking about, okay, how do we get him back in to play at least, if this season ends up being it, to play one more game and kick 4 goals to get to 800, all those sorts of things. And he's got to come in amidst all of that while the team's been out of form. It's a lot of pressure that is going on around him and that he's probably, stewing on often. So I was happy with that. I'd like to see him get his hands on the ball just a little bit more than what he did tonight. Considering the nature of the type of forward he is your athletic run and jump sort of forward, as opposed to kind of stand and wrestle and throw him around and naturally get less of the ball like a Tom Hawkins. So there's areas for improvement there for him, but it was a good start. I think it was a good start.
Yeah. No, the goals will come. That's for sure.
And look, he had a Mackay for company, which is not I mean, Ben's the lesser of the two Mackays, but he's not a pushover at the same time. His numbers actually this year have been pretty phenomenal, Ben Mackay.
Yeah,
so.
he's been really good. Been really good, Mackay, ever since he went across to Essendon for sure.
Yeah, and I'd say
Well,
at the very least broke even in the contest tonight.
Yeah.
Ben Mackay didn't get him the other way, so I'll take that. I think I'll take it. Who's he going to have for company next week against the Hawks? What, Sicily?
Oh yeah.
I can't think of their. But actually, that also links to either moment's other comment here about Emma Sajeka, a former Hawk, as an intriguing prospect as well. So
yes, another one.
And he's been playing key defensive role for the last couple of seasons. So there's potential there as well as we kind of look to move some pieces around and develop players in other positions. There's opportunities in that space too. So good shout out there either moment. It's a good spot that we're in. we're in. I know we can be more bubbly off the back of a win, but having seen what that VFL team has been doing for a couple of months now, and only barely going down to Port Melbourne last week as well, and it seems like Port Melbourne kind of played a bit of a blinder that week, and just things were clicking in ways they hadn't for most of the season up to that stage, and we were the unfortunate team that caught them when their form peaked. But just the talent that is there, those green shoots look really, really good. And
absolutely,
I hope that we don't have to slip too far. And I don't think we will. But maybe we end up missing. We'll see what happens. Maybe we end up missing the 8 this year. Maybe we spend one more year out of it next year. But then you're going to see those guys that are going to be in season 5. They're 23, 24. They're starting to get really consistent. And we start to explode a little bit. We'll, look to fill some holes, whether it's a Bailey Smith or someone else, through free agency or trade. There's going to be those sorts of players that can come up and address some needs as well. So, and the Cats are pretty good at bringing them in. So,
definitely. I could see that happening. Like, even if we do miss the finals this year, as you said, I probably won't lose sleep over it because. It's bright future ahead. Got some great kids coming up, and we'll dominate for the next 20 years. Watch out, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 down, and then another 20 up. I can deal with that.
That's how you do it. That's the Geelong way.
We'll recruit ourselves another Joel Selwood and suddenly go on to win a premiership that year. It'd be great.
Definitely.
Any other thoughts on the game at all, mate?
No, not at all. I think I've said my part. My thoughts for next week. Hopefully we belt the crap out of the Hawks, bring them down to earth where they belong and stuff like that. Unfortunately I can't make the game next week, but the people are going. Be loud, cheer on the boys loud and all of that.
Remind them they've been scared to come to Geelong much over the course of the last few years, and the one time they did, as was rightly pointed out in the chat before, it was a COVID year, and so it doesn't count. They're weak over there at Hawthorn, so no. We want to be loud. We want to kind of help get the boys up and about. We want to, Will Lawson-Humphries kick his first career goal. All those sorts of things that would be awesome next week. Let's get up and about and make it happen. I'm disappointed I can't make it myself, but
bugger.
No, I've got a Bucks night that night, so. I'll be inebriated somewhere, I'm sure.
Definitely catch it on KO for sure. Yeah.
I'll see if I can do people a favor and jump into post game live at some point as a guest. But I won't have seen much of the game, and I don't know how much sense I'll be speaking at that particular stage. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, Ben. If you're watching now, send me some messages over the course of the night to remind me to jump in. I'll see what I can do.
Come on,
I can already picture the guys. It's great. No, it'll be a mess. Pin-up model for society. But anyway, mate, it's been awesome to have you on board, though. I guess we'll get to chat in a couple of weeks again once I return from whatever state I end up in a week from now. But thanks for coming in and sharing the thoughts, mate. It's always good to chat and thanks, looking forward to doing it again sometime soon, mate.
Yeah, and thanks to everyone listening for listening to my terrible voice. Be better next week,
you've been great, mate. Awesome to have you on board.
All
right, mate. I'll see you later on.
Yeah, go Cats.
Thanks, mate. Lucas, I'm not sure if you're there. I'm just looking for a little bit of vision. There we go. There he is. All right, let's bring him in. And also shout out to Rob Kieran's there with Horse and Lumphreys. That'll wreck my ability to speak your name properly for the next few weeks. Thanks, mate. Get out of here. All right, Lucas, how you doing, mate? Oh, you're muted. There we go. How you doing? Wait. Oh, you've chosen to mute yourself. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. There you go. No, I'm doing good, Paul.
Good to hear.
And well done to Ben to sit there for the whole game and do the whole game live on YouTube.
Did you check it out?
So thank you for him. Yeah. So thank you for him. Just 3 words. We own Essendon.
Our bunny team.
Yeah. No matter what we're doing, where we are on the ladder, where we're doing shit, where we're doing good, whether they're doing good or bad,
we can always trust Essendon to be worse than us.
Yeah, exactly right. And comfortably as well. I know we went away with it late. Probably the scoreboard doesn't suggest, but it was pretty comfortable. First quarter, I thought we did okay. I was a bit concerned with the space that we're giving the Essendon players. They were getting a couple of cheap goals in the goal square, Stringer for one of them. Draper over where he rucked it over to somebody and there was an easy goal. I forgot who that was. So I was a little bit concerned with that. And then I thought when the rain came, I thought we were a much better team in the rain in those conditions. I thought we were playing very good. And we seemed to match Essendon. So I thought we were okay, and I was just hoping to please just not another third quarter blowout like we have. Seems to be our problem. And then we just ran away with it. I was just over the absolute moon. I thought we played our best quarter in 7 weeks in that third quarter. Just brilliant quarter. There cannot be any negatives tonight. Just full of positive and full of praise. And then the fourth quarter, we kicked away. Made a 7-goal game. So fantastic. No doubt, arguably probably our best win of the year, considering where Essendon are.
I mean, it probably depends on how much you rate Essendon in the first place. But I do agree, especially considering the backdrop, I guess, for the game and where we'd been at and what our form had been like up to that particular stage. It's been a lean couple of months, and especially that second half was a pretty complete section of the game at the very least.
The most pleasing thing is when we matched with, I felt like someone in the chat, I think it might have been Bridget, because I was actually watching the game and keeping an eye on the YouTube. I think she mentioned that Geelong didn't get out of second gear before half time. And it kind of looked like that, kind of like we were cruising, and Essendon were doing very well, and we were matching them.
Yeah.
But yeah, after half time, we just blew them out. Our pressure, that was the most impressive thing, our pressure. Yeah. Every time Essendon got the ball, that we were there just right on top of them, almost like breathing down their necks. The small forwards, Rowan, I thought Rowan was absolutely fantastic today.
Was awesome.
Probably won't get the 3, but I thought he was sensational. The inside, and I think it was the third quarter where he turned on a dime and hit a target inside 50 with one of those bullet passes. That was fantastic. When he did that, I thought, I think we can run away with this game. So I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Dempsey, probably the 3 votes for me for Dempsey. Fantastic. Just the way he went consistent throughout the whole game. This is probably a breakout game for him. Though I think he's probably
says a lot considering his season up to this point.
Exactly. He's actually. I was going to say he's actually had a couple of good games. But breakout this year because he's been
future rising star. Drop those stars in the comments again.
So I thought, he was absolutely fantastic. I like Stewart in the middle. Got a couple of clearances in the middle, which was pretty good. A couple of center bounce clearances.
Yeah, it was a nice circuit breaker for him, I think.
Yeah,
and his confidence probably needed it, if nothing else, as well.
Well, I thought he was very good. I think he got 20 disposals.
23. Yeah.
So that little. When I've been talking about this whole 6-7 weeks, putting him in the middle, getting him his confidence back, and for the first time in probably 7 weeks, I felt that was the old Tom Stewart back. Okay, he probably didn't take 9-10 contested marks, but I felt the old Tom Stewart was back today, and I thought that was very, very crucial. I think he's just when he's at his best, I think Geelong are at their best. So I loved that move from Chris Scott, putting him in the middle to break that tag, that negating tag. So that was fantastic. I don't want to bring up negatives because we won, but
constructive criticism. We'll call it constructive criticism.
That's the word. I just wish we would do that with Cameron, because again, he doesn't need big stats to do damage. If you give him the ball 5 times, he can probably kick 2 goals. So that's probably the most frustrating thing about it, is that when he's not touching it, when he's having zero impact, I feel that that's hurting us, because he only needs to touch it a couple of times to kick goals. So I just wish they would have done something with him. Not that he was bad tonight. He kicked the 2 goals. I don't think he had, again, he didn't have enormous. I don't think he had like 15, 20 touches. I think he only had like less than 10.
No, he had 12. He had 12 in the end. 12, but 12, Ethan held up the heat map for Jeremy Cameron before he jumped out of the call, and it was quite striking that Jeremy Cameron was basically based in like the forward pocket the majority of the game. And so his numbers were going to be down because he wasn't drifting the ground like he has been. He needed to play a deeper forward role. And I found in that first half in particular, it felt like they were delivering more to Shannon Neal than they were to him. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because Shannon Neal should be 21, 22 years old. He should be at a point where he's about ready to go. I think just maybe by sheer nature of where they got possession, Shannon Neal and Gary Rowan ended up being more of the leading targets in the first half than Jeremy Cameron. But that kind of shifted a little bit in the second half there, and Jeremy started I think he really started to find some touch last week against Carlton. But when the ball kind of was headed his direction, he then really started to dominate a bit more in that second half. So,
and the thing is, like, if you stick him in the forward pocket and the ball's not getting there, it can, it's just like pulling teeth. You like think, oh, come on, get in the game. What are you doing? Push him up forward. I was calling him to be in the ruck at times tonight when we're like battling goal for goal with Essendon in the first half.
I'd be terrified to do that with Jeremy Cameron. I'd be mortified that he cops one to the hip and that's it. He's
that's the always risk. But after halftime he found a couple of touches, kicked a nice goal. But I just wish he got into the game more, because he's crucial to us. In the chat with Ben, I was thinking, we win by 15 points. Jazza kicks 5 goals, so maybe I'm a bit dirty of that. He didn't get 5 goals.
He had 5 shots on goal.
5
2 goals, 3.
5 shots on goal. But no, it was just a fantastic night. I'm not going to say the lid's off or we're back in all that. It's one game.
Let's wait and see what we do against the Pies in 2 weeks from now.
And look,
we don't have to win it. We just have to be in it up to our eyeballs. And if that's the case, then I'm fine.
I look, well, a lot of results went our way tonight. The Crows beating GWS. So that was another handy bonus. Gold Coast winning, I suppose.
Give me 1 second. I'll bring the ladder up for us on screen here so everyone can kind of pick through it with us. Give me 1 second. Keep going. Keep chatting. I'll bring it up in the meantime.
Yeah, I'll keep going. So I thought the results really helped us a lot. So hopefully, I was going to say hopefully Port Adelaide can lose next week, but they're already below us. But that would help.
It's certainly the face of it's changed a little bit. We've been fortunate over this whole 6 to 7 week block that a lot of those teams that are kind of competing for spots in the 8 were beating each other, and so they the progression up the ladder and I guess, our fall down the ladder was kind of buffered a little bit.
Yeah.
We dropped 6 out of 8 games, and we've managed to hold on to 5th. Like that's crazy, but it's all these teams. It's because of how even the competition is, and then in particular, the 2 teams that are right behind us in Collingwood and Brisbane, starting so poorly, has then given us this opportunity to hold on to some space.
Well, that's exactly
right.
It's
worked out very, very well for us.
Oh, it's worked out brilliantly. Any other year when you lose, we only win 1 game in 7 weeks, you're probably sitting around the 14th to the 18th mark.
Yeah.
So probably being fortunate this year. But no, going into this, I said last week I don't really have any confidence Essendon will probably beat us. They made me look stupid tonight.
Mate, we're a loss away from 12th. Like that's the sort of the margins we're talking about here. So very important win in the end. But it does show, just how tight it is and how lucky we've kind of been up to this point, really, in terms of holding the spot on the ladder that we have.
Well, like you said, it's been this is probably the most even round in ages. I can't remember another more even round than this. So I think that's kind of helped us a bit. I don't really like saying that, because if you're relying on the draw to help you, you don't probably deserve to make finals.
You don't deserve it anyway, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, going into tonight's game, I picked Essendon before the game. I picked them all week. I wasn't going to change. And there's a life lesson in football if anyone's new to AFL. If Geelong are playing Essendon, always pick Geelong because they always seem to get.
Or even if we want to get more specific, almost if Chris Scott and Brad Scott are going head to head, Chris Scott will always be the winner. So
yeah, it's a bit like GWS in Geelong, isn't it?
Yeah, that one. Which we could play them in finals. We probably have more of a chance of beating them in Sydney than it is in Geelong. But anyway, no, look, it's really important. Even though I did pick Essendon, I thought this would be probably 60-40, around about the 55-45 mark. I think if we can win those games, win our home games, I think we'll be all right. Teams like Collingwood, that's more of a probably 70-30, bit of a tough game. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They're an amazing team.
Yeah, so teams like that, you think it's a bit of a tough win. But if we can win those little 50-50s or games at home, I'm pretty certain we can make finals. We'll be there. Hawthorn next week. Outside of Brisbane, Sydney lost today. Hawthorn are the informed team. Happens to be they're not in the 8 because of their poor start. Now see what they do against West Coast. West Coast have got this Harley Reid momentum frenzy going on that he's back. They seem to play different when he's in the team. But Hawthorn, they are one of the informed teams in the competition, whether we like that or not.
No, we certainly don't like it.
No, we don't. No, we don't. No. But having said that, I'll go out an early win. I think we'll win by 30-40 points.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think
I'm okay. I'm okay with a 5-goal margin. That'd probably be the safe sort of window I would have thought. Honestly, it should be what happens. That should be the case.
Yeah,
so
it should be on talent rise paper. We're the better team, but it's not played on paper, so anything can happen. If it was played on paper, we probably wouldn't have only won the last 7 games. Yeah. So and we're probably in the top 2. So anything can happen. But no, tonight there was actually a lot of people I noticed commented after my rant last week saying, can't wait till this bloke loses it again. That won't be happening tonight, thank God. Might happen again next week. If we lose to Hawthorn, that might happen.
Yeah, I think I won't be with you because I'll be sprawled out on my back in the middle of the street or something. But I think we all have something in common if that happens. We'll be angry, raged, and alcohol fueled. I'll just be several hours in front of you all when it comes to the alcohol side of it.
Yeah. No, I got worried after quarter time with Ben's drinking game there, so I stopped.
What was he playing a drinking game? I've got to go back and watch it. Yeah. I was saying to him, like, mate, I'm not gonna tune into this because I want to kind of come in clean and kind of create a bit of a disconnect between what he was doing with the Darty party versus versus the normal post-game live thing. So we'll see. I was saying before to a few others that I think I'll probably just pile in next week with I don't know how many beers it'll be under my belt by the time we get to post-game live next week, but I won't be in a good way, I don't think. Bucks nights, they're not good for you. They're bad things.
No, I'm not a drinker. I'm just extremely. I had that bottle there sitting for a year before I even touched it. I thought I just want to get involved.
I appreciate the discipline. Drink responsibly, everyone. Don't get crazy. It's not worth it.
I stopped after quarter time. I replaced that with Coke. Probably, if the kids are watching, probably not the best.
Cordial, everyone.
Well. Yeah, cordial. Yeah, exactly. Water and cordial. But no. Look, today was a solid win. I think that's the one word you could say, solid.
Yeah.
We
did what we needed to. We were fine in the first half. Just looking for the spark and for things to click. It clicked in the second half, and we dominated them in the way that we should.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, like you said, sorry, you can be your own judge of where Essendon sits. I do rate them. I think they've beaten some good teams this season, and had a couple of average wins. I know people like to say, "Oh, well, they haven't beat anyone really outside the top 8." But that's not their fault. You can only beat who's in front of you. As for all teams, so I still rate them. I rate the way they play. I think they play good football. So yeah, this was a good win tonight. Individually, outside the players I mentioned, I thought Neil again okay. Yeah. I don't think he was. I said this last week. I said this to Ben, and I said Tom Hawkins should never play again, and that I got destroyed for that.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So and then he said, "Oh well, if you bring in Neil, is he just a 6-week thing, or is he a permanent replacement for Hawkins?" And I said, "Look, he's not going to kick 5 goals next week. He's not going to kick 5 goals the week after. I just want him in there just to get the chemistry going, get the balance right, and see what happens." And I thought, he wasn't bad tonight. He wasn't good. He was just okay. Kicked his goal. He didn't look out of place.
Strong hands.
So I thought he was just fine. We'll play him next week. Time will tell over the next 5-6 weeks.
Look, he's just got to get confidence in front of the sticks, because you see it in the VFL as well. He's a bit wobbly in front of goal. I think that's his one weakness at the moment. So
yeah, I watched. I'm glad you mentioned that. I watched that last week. There was a goal last week. Sorry, a set shot he made when he did that banana shot, and he looked very casual, very very casual. And I don't know if you saw that or not.
No, I haven't seen that one. And I guess in terms of what he's provided at the AFL level, I haven't necessarily considered him kind of that.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the technique requires a bit of work. He's a tall bloke. The usual sort of jokes that get made about Ruckman, he doesn't quite fit that bill. But the distance from hand to foot is greater with him than. But he's got to tweak the technique a little bit just to minimize that, and I think give himself every chance of hit. The one that he missed tonight was a pretty bad miss, and they're ones that if you're the walk up starting key forward in the future, that I think we all expect him to be, he needs to fix that aspect of his game.
Yeah, of course.
Those should be sodas, and they're the ones that you miss 1 out of 100, not 50-50.
The elite finishers don't miss those.
Yeah,
and I think if you can't take a contested mark or whatnot, you at least got to be elite in something.
Yeah.
And I think for a key forward, that's got to be finishing or goal kicking. That miss there. Hopefully he can patch that up.
He'll learn. He'll come good.
Yeah, probably can laugh about it, but because we won.
When you win, yeah.
But no, I thought he was okay. I want to make a comment on Ollie Henry. That I don't know who brought that up, if he gets a game.
Ben
or not.
Ben mentioned it in the chat, actually.
Oh, Ben brought that up. Yeah, I'm a huge Ollie Henry fan. I love what he did last year. In the system, I think he kicked over 40 goals last year.
Yep.
That doesn't grow on trees. in your first year, new system, new club, you kick 40 goals. That's incredible. Now I know he's been nowhere near that. He's been injured in and out.
And his form, he's been off when it comes to his form.
Yeah.
But he's a genuinely great player. He's just a bit off at the moment.
So at this point in time, I don't want to see Rowan dropped, because these last 2 weeks, well, that last week when he was a sub, can make an argument he's one of Geelong's best players, and he played one quarter. We tended to kick one goal and looked energised and that. So, and he brought that effort today, Rowan. So I want him also in the team. You can't have Stengel, Close, Rowan, Henry. You can't have them all at the same time. I get that, but I still think we can play Henry in this team with Rowan in there.
Yeah, I think we can too. And that doesn't mean that one of them has to be the sub either.
Look,
I think you can have Cameron and Neil as your two key position forwards, with those two, maybe one of them off the half forward flank, one of them off the forward pocket, just so that you're spacing them a bit better. With then your Stengels and Closes and Myers and Dempsey's and all. Oh, geez, that's I've now got too many there, but we've got that problem anyway. We've long had that problem because we've had a pretty lethal forward line. It's
a good problem to have though. It's not a bad problem. If we're straight, like if you drop Rowan's a premiership player, good player. Ollie Henry kicked 40 goals last year. If you drop him, it's not like you're dropping scrubs. These are very good players and premiership players. So it's a very good headache to have. Not that you still want it, but no, I just thought Rowan was very good tonight, very impressive. I thought Dangerfield, not good, not bad, but I think it was solid. 22 touches, solid performance. What we need, that inside hard player. I thought he just did that role to a T tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
Solid again. I thought our new debutant, he looked promising. Yeah, he looked again first game. I don't want to go all cut and go all the lids off with him, but I thought he was very good tonight. So we'll see.
He walked straight in. He knew the structures. He played the structure perfectly, and then showed he's got a bit of silk and class about him.
Yeah, and again, when you bring in debutants, you're not expecting them to have 30 touches, kick 5 goals.
Not everyone is well spoiled when they first arrive.
Yeah. You just want them to do the role, and I thought he just didn't do that role. It was like if you said to me he played 40, 50 games, you'd believe it. He did not look out of place tonight.
Absolutely.
So that was fantastic. I wish Hardy was there. I really wish he's there.
We're getting there. Baby steps.
Slowly. I would have loved if he was there tonight. That probably.
I'd love to know what the feedback is that he's getting that is indicating that he's not quite there or whatever, because he's close.
Well,
it feels like he's close.
But he seems he's been close the last 6-7 weeks now.
Yes, which means there's got to be something. As far as there must be something that they're just like, okay, we need you to fix this thing, and he's not quite fixing it.
Yeah,
hasn't been able to consistently nail it.
Maybe defensive work, because I know our forwards when they do defensive work, they do it pretty bloody good. Like they did today.
Well, and Mitch Hardy coming in as a midfielder too, so that's obviously that was the thing that was costing us through that block of 6 losses.
Yeah,
was
exactly, and that's why we're
trying to curtail the opposition's midfield.
So that's why we're asking him to just come in, please, for a game, see what happens. So, that he's almost close seems to be happening for a while. So as you mentioned, there must be defensive work or something, maybe finishing. But I don't notice it in the VFL when I watch the games. I don't really see anything that stands out. So
for the wrong reasons.
maybe they looking at something we're not looking at. But I just wish he got his chance. But I thought Bose was pretty good today.
26 from 62%.
Yeah. So
that's an awesome stat
yeah,
line.
I know, it's a bit of a divide between you two because I know Ben doesn't rate him.
Ben's a clown.
Yeah.
Dead set moron.
Is he still here, by the way, Ben? Is he still around?
It shows that he's there, but I suspect he doesn't realise that he's left his StreamYard still on. So, but he'll watch this back, and maybe he'll bob up in the comments in a sec. Dead set clown. He's got no idea what he's talking about. Jack Bowes is an absolute jet.
This is probably Bo's best game since that Gold Coast game 7 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I do rate Bowes, but you can't have one good game and 7 bad games for the rest of the season. One good. You got to be more consistent.
I see. I would say he's been consistent within those peaks at the same time, and I think people are really going to notice this one because it was a winning result for us as well.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, look, people absolutely noticed him during the Gold Coast game because he was clearly our best player, and I can't remember what the votes ended up being, but he was. Oh no, I think Stengel ended up being kind of a judge the best for us. But like, he attacked it hard. It was against his old team, so there was the little bit of extra theatrics there around it. But to do it today, again, like in a winning team, that's going to get noticed more. I just argue he's been one of our best players all season. And yeah, Jackie's just popped in saying BOG against Richmond as well. So
yeah. So well, you can probably kick 1 goal 9 in a winning game. You probably won't get noticed. Right. So if you win, it's all good. But when you lose, you look for a target player, don't you? You look for something. For me, for the last 5 weeks, it's been Hawkins. Not that I want to bully. Yeah, and yeah. So
why do you think we shove you to the end of the show so that no one has to hear you slagging him off now?
I knew that rant would come back to haunt me.
I'll admit I wasn't there for it, so I didn't know about it. So there's.
That's good then. That's fine. Well, Ben said we got to get controversial, so I thought I'd throw that out there since we got him.
Well, if you're going to be controversial, you may as well just be one of the clouds that starts shouting about firing Chris Scott, right? Because that's what those sorts of. No, I won't use that word.
No,
those sorts of people would say.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I think poor Ben, he cops it a lot. He cops it from other fan channels as well.
Look, he's created his own problems this season. Like, I told him the moment he tweeted at the GWS social team that this was going to come back to bite him on the ass, and sure enough, it did. Did you see what they did to him?
No, actually, I did not know.
He tweeted before the game, responded to one of the GWS social teams things saying, "We saved all 4 seats for all your members," and they quote tweeted that. They posted it on Instagram. They posted it on Facebook. They put it everywhere. You do not go up against the GWS social team.
And if Ben is around, Ben, you do realise that they were playing in Geelong, right? We don't have the best record against them. So that's just putting more fuel to the fire.
Like I know when you're kind of hosting a platform that's focused on one club, there's the temptation to throw a bit of banter around. Do it after you've won. Which is why I'm going to the most insufferable prick in the world to the Essendon supporters I know this week. I'll leave one of them alone. She's in hospital at the moment, and she's usually my number one target. So,
no, all the best. All the best.
Dodged a bullet this time around, but as soon as you're out of there, I'm coming for you. Jackie's acknowledged that the GWS social team, they're absolute legends. There's no one that does it.
No, I do love that. I do love their banter. Ever since they made that grand final with that damn song, that
big
went
sound.
viral. Yes. They're and banter. I think banter's great for communities, whether it's AFL, cricket, basketball, as long as it's sensible. As long as it's kind, good banter, and not personal attacks. You don't need that stuff. So
I know in one of our StreamYard layouts, I've got the GWS song there ready to go, but I don't know where it is, so I'll leave it for now.
They lost tonight, so which helped us. Incidentally, which helped us.
Worked out very nicely for us. Again, the people just keep paving a clear road for us. We can keep coughing up wins and somehow hang around in the top half of the ladder. It's been good. They're buying us time to find our form again. And look out.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, we've got a few games to go in Geelong. I'll start wrapping this up, but we've got a few games to go in Geelong. I think we have 3-4 games left in Geelong.
Yeah.
So I think the draw is a little bit kind. But again, I don't want to talk about draws because if you're mentioning draws, you don't deserve to be in there anyway. So, but as long as
go on, sorry.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, like I said, as long as if we can win those 50-50 games coming up, and then just win our home games, you know, I think that will help us a lot. I think we'll get in, and if we can pinch a 60-40 result or 70-30 somehow,
one that's up against. We're up against.
If we could just beat a Collingwood, I think that can take care of itself. But yeah.
Well, the reality of the situation is right now we are half a game out of third on the ladder. Despite everything that's gone wrong for us, we are half a game out of third. Like if we can rediscover that form, and we obviously saw signs of it tonight. They were close in the first half. It clicked in the second half. We've seen flashes of it against Sydney. We didn't see anything against Carlton, but we've been seeing it's there. It's close. They've kind of been reaching and really grabbed a hold of it in the second half of today. If they can bottle that and keep going again and kind of click back into gear again.
Well,
somehow, despite everything that's gone wrong, they haven't. The damage is so minimal because of what all the other teams have been doing to each other. Yeah. We can make a charge for a top 4 spot and go from there.
And as you said earlier, to your point, it's been that even. So not that you want to lose games, but like I said, any other year when you only win 1 from 7 games, you'd be in 14th. You'd be around that 14th to 18th.
The reality is we're one loss away from that sort of spot on the ladder. But that just goes back to how tight this season is. If we can get the chocolates this week against Hawthorn, we'll take. I don't know who. So Essendon plays Collingwood next week, so they've got a tough matchup. We could jump into 4th there as a result. We take on the Pies. That's one of those ones that, as you say, we're maybe 40-60 in terms of the matchup. But if we can get the win there and pinch one of those sorts of wins, it feels like at that point so much of the damage that we suffered through over the course of 8 games largely disappears. And then it's just how do we recalibrate? How do we fine tune the things that we need to fine tune so that when we play Carlton again, it's more like the first. Well, actually, no, we're kind of lucky the first time around. We beat them down with efficiency in that earlier match. But when we take on Sydney, how do we ensure that there's not a 15-20 minute gap where they just explode and rip us apart? How do we maintain that defensive pressure that we saw tonight from the midfield all game against any midfield opponent? Because we don't have the best midfield. Absolutely, I agree with it. But we can blunt the opposition, and we struggled to do that for 2 months.
But in the end, like you said after the Gold Coast game, the midfield doesn't need to have plus 30 possessions or plus 40 contested. As long as they put enough pressure on the opposition when they kick it out,
that's what allows our defenders do their thing, right?
Yeah, and it looked like that was going on tonight. That looked, especially from our inside 50 forwards, the pressure was absolutely outstanding. We just suffocated them. They're just bombing it long to Peter Wright. Even though he's a good forward, he was really no threat tonight, really.
No, that second half they really worked him out in terms of how to.
Stringer was another one. We applied a lot of pressure on Stringer. He was nowhere near his best today.
He must have signed his contract recently because he has no incentive now.
No. It was one of those places that only seems to do well against the bottom 4 teams.
Flat track bully, you say?
Yeah, flat track bully. Yeah, that's a good definition of it. But no, look, move on to Hawthorn. And if we can finish in the top 4, look out. If we finish 4th, look out Sydney. We'll come for you. We'll learn from our mistakes. Well, if we finish top 4, there'll be I think Sydney would be nervous of us. I
think any team that tackles Geelong, you worry because we've been there, we've done it. The class is still there.
Yeah,
the talent is there. and the young blokes will be confident.
And
It's a dangerous
we can get that
combination.
home final, and we can get that home final in Geelong. As long as it's not against the Giants, we can move that to the G. Or
Well, no, it doesn't matter if it's against the Giants. They'll still find a way to send us to the G anyway.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, good point.
That's a whole other conversation. We could talk for 2 hours about that whole thing. So we'll leave that.
Just like the AFL promised us more games if we build our stadium up, and they haven't done that. Playing the same teams is not more games.
Pretty much.
But anyway, that's a conversation for a different day. Anyway, Paul, thank you for having me. And
no, not a problem at all. It was awesome to have you aboard, mate.
Really do appreciate it. And thank you, Ben, for hosting the watch along. So thank you very much, and have a great night. And thank you for the viewers as well.
You too, mate. Thanks for coming on board, and make sure you're saving up all your Tom Hawkins complimentary stuff for when he returns in round 24 and kicks 4 goals to get his 800th.
I said if we make finals, he's not getting in. So I'll stand by that. Oh yeah, okay.
I wasn't aware of that from last time. You better get out of here before the angry masses come for you. All right, guys. Well, that is it. There is no one else to jump in tonight. So thank you to everyone who has piled in tonight to share their thoughts. Please, if you're still in the comment section now, drop those stars, those rising stars for Ollie Dempsey. And we'll even toss Lawson Humphries in there as a recipient for this week. I'm sure he's going to get one. Thank you to everyone for jumping in and checking both post-game live out tonight, but also Ben's live stream of the match. Sounds like it was a wild time. I didn't realize there was drinking games and all sorts of things going on. So well done, Ben. Glad you survived that one. And you managed to hang around for a few minutes to chat with me too. So thank you to everyone who supported everything that the Hoops crew has done tonight. It's been a big night. Good 5 hours or so of streaming at this point, I would imagine. Thank you to everyone who's jumped into the call. Your thoughts have been amazing. Thank you to everyone in the comments for providing some great conversation starters there as well. It has been really, really awesome to have you. And there we go. There's our first stars starting to drop. Let's keep pumping up Lawson. Let's keep pumping up Ollie. We've got a rising star winner here. It's been awesome to have you on board. Please, and I'm going to get the plugs out of the way now. I apologize to everyone who at this point of the show, you've heard this so many times, so I'm sorry. But if you're new, please consider checking out our Patreon, where you you can get the opportunity to sign up for a week there, explore everything that we do at no cost. And then if you decide to stick around, it costs you it's the cost of one singular coffee for an entire month. That's all you need to pay to get access to a whole bunch of cool stuff that we've got there. There's some exclusive stuff from the chaps that you can check out. There's I've been doing the scratching post. That's kind of everyone really enjoyed when I jumped into post-game live and I did it from my phone one night. That's now a thing. It's an actual thing that I do. There's a couple videos every single week. I've done one about this week about Tom Hawkins and kind of what the future has in store for him at this particular point, now that we've kind of got a verdict on his injury. There's another one there about the VFL team and their, what happened, I guess the thoughts were off the back of their first loss in a couple of months. And there'll be more over the course of this week. There's plenty of conversation starters off the back of tonight's game as well. So go check out that there. Again, it's the cost of one coffee for the entire month, not one per day. One coffee for an entire month is all it takes, and you get early access to a whole bunch of stuff. Access to exclusive content as well. It's a great time, and you're helping to continue to grow our Hoops crew dream that we've been building here. That's enough from me, though. I'll stop plugging. Go check out all the other Hoops crew stuff. You're probably already subscribed at this point on the channel, and if you haven't, ding the bell for notifications as well. I'm on social media at Paul James Games. Hit me up if there's anything you want to chat about, whether it is footy related, whether it's video game related. Again, everyone probably knows well and truly at this point that is a whole other ecosystem that I'm in. Plenty of thoughts on all of that as well. The Cats got the job done tonight by 45 points against the Bombers. Was a good time to watch. Thank you, everyone, for jumping in tonight. Lawson Humphries for Rising Star this week. Ollie Dempsey for the Rising Star for the season. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. Remain Geelong strong, and I will see you later. See you guys.